Hello, motherfuckers, and welcome back to my podcast. You are now tuned in to Bells Be Speaking. If you are new here, I am your host, Coriel. So that's Corey L or Corey L, aka Bells. And if you are not new here and you already knew my name, I just reminded you so you never forget it. But thanks so much for coming back for another video. I am very happy to have you here. Before I go, or another episode. Thanks for coming back for another episode. I'm very happy to have you here, okay? Now, before I go ahead and jump into this episode, y'all already know. If you've been here for more than a few episodes, you already know. But I'm about to go ahead and do it again just for the newbies. I'm about to hop into some disclaimers before we get started. First things first, if you don't like profanity or harsh words or even sometimes words that may be considered offensive, you should go ahead and click off of this podcast. It's not going to be the podcast or channel or anything for you. Secondly is if you are listening on headphones, make sure you adjust your volume accordingly just in case I do have a loud outburst or my volume goes up, because I do tend to do that when I am speaking because I speak passionately. Now, to jump into the topic of today's episode, I just want to make this really quick because it's been coming up on my mind relatively frequently for a little while now, and it's something that I've heard a lot and while growing up, but now especially that I'm grown and I'm in a different stage of my grownness just because of the way I feel about myself, not in terms of because of anything I'm necessarily doing, but because of the way I feel. And I'm just noticing it more, if that makes sense. It's sticking out to me more, and I just wanted to talk on it because I feel like people need to hear it. So that topic is age, your age, being older, or whatever the case may be, however you want to say that, but just age in general does not equal wisdom. And it definitely does not equal you being superior or better or well equipped in any type of way. And I'm going to elaborate on that. Now, what I mean by that is this. Okay. When someone is like, oh, well, I'm 60. Oh, well, you know me, I'm 40. I'm 42. I'm 43. I'm 48. I'm this age. I'm that age. So I know what I'm talking about. I know, you know what I'm saying? Things like that. Oh, I think I would know what I'm talking about. I'm 60 years old. I'm 64 years old. People say like that, and people think that their age, or even sometimes the amount of years of experience that they have had in a particular field or area in something automatically equals credibility or superiority, in a sense of that, oh, what I say is right and that I know better, and what you say is wrong and that you don't know it. Because, or in other words, that's what they're trying to get at, and they don't want to say that, but they're listing it. That's them implying that by saying their age as if, or the amount of time endured in something automatically makes them superior. And I want to deep dive into that and to break it down why that is not always the case, and why I feel like it would be beneficial for people like myself that are younger, that are coming up, and that are free thinkers as well, to hear this, because I've already removed the shackles of it off of me, and I don't let it hinder me anymore. And I haven't let this hinder me really ever. Honestly, I've never let it hinder me. It's just was something that I would kind of like argue with in my head. I just never said anything, but it never stopped me from doing anything. But I do recognize the fact that some people, it cripples them. That's what I'm trying to get at. I want people to get out of this crippling perspective from people that are older than them, that have something to say to that person, to a younger person or whatever, that essentially is like energy draining, dream killing, confidence killing. That's really what it is. It's a minimizing technique to get people that are younger than them that obviously are doing more, that have potential, that have confidence, strength, brightness. They have better cards in their hands, or however you want to look at look at it. They have, they've done different things. The people that are just coming up after them, right? I view this as a minimizing technique in most cases, not all cases, because obviously experience is a great thing, just for comfortability when it comes to certain things. Obviously, like if you're going to do something serious, you want to go with an expert, that has experience, so that way you can feel more comfortable. It's not their first rodeo, right? In contrast, but I'm about to dive deep into it. So the reason why I say this doesn't automatically make you wise is, first of all, I don't give a fuck if you've been doing something since Harriet Tubman has been doing it. I don't give a fuck if you have been on this planet since before Harriet Tubman was born. Let me start off with that. I don't give a fuck if you 84. I don't give a fuck if you're a senior citizen. Age and even experiences, if I'm really being honest, that does not make you credible. What makes you credible is who you are as a lump sum, your perspective on life, your belief system, the examples and experiences that you've had in your life, where you are in life, what you've accumulated. It is all encompassing on what makes you a credible source or not, what makes you a wise person or not. How do you talk about people? What do you think about people? Are you religious? Are you non-religious? What religion do you believe in? There is in my opinion, in the way I live my life, and see, this is the thing too. I say this and I emphasize this a lot because I need people to understand, that support me and that, want to live, that are inspired by me. They see how I live my life. They see the fact that I do what I want. I make shit happen and I soar and I excel. Things like that. People that see what they like and they're listening or consuming someone because they want to be like that person. They want to have similar traits or qualities that are applied organically and originally in their own life to get the results that they want in their own life, right? That's why I'm speaking on this, because my perspective of what makes someone that way, and based on who I take, if I take advice at all, who I take advice from, who I look to, who I think is worth viewing as an example or as a person to be getting some fucking advice from. A lot of people are not equipped enough to be a fucking advice giver. Just like not everybody can just go up to a school or walk into a school and be a fucking teacher because they graduated. I graduated from high school 30 years ago. I don't give a fuck if you graduated from 30 years ago. From school 30 years ago. It don't matter if you graduated from the number one high school in the world. Did you go to school and learn this topic that you're trying to teach? What school did you know what I'm saying? Do you have a degree in this topic that you're trying to teach? Okay, what kind of degree is it? Where did you get this degree from? Who was your professor? What grading scale system were you on? Let me see. You know what I'm saying? You don't just sign up and automatically get promoted to a job or qualify for a job or a role that you're trying to take on as advisor, as this or as I'm trying to tell you and I'm just trying to help you out. Who the fuck are you? You are not no reliable source. And even if you were, because y'all know when I'm explaining my topics, I explain my different perspectives, all of that one thing that make my main point drive together, right? Or tie together. Even if all of those things, were lined up. You did go to a school for a long amount of time. You did go to college. You did get a degree. You did, you do have the what is it called? The requirements on paper. You still got to do a fucking interview. Just because you got the requirements on paper, it's plenty of time where people qualify for a job and they still don't get the job because they're not a good fit for the company. They're not a good fit for the person that they're trying to be hired for, that they're trying to work for, that they're trying to teach to. Oh, that's okay. everything looks good on paper, but after meeting you, after bringing you in for an interview, and seeing how you are, blah 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 blah, interacting with you, we don't think you would be a good fit to teach our students. So that is the perspective, or to work at our company, or to interact with our customers. That's the perspective y'all need to have. I don't give a fuck if it's your mother. I don't give a fuck if it's your auntie. I don't give a fuck if it's an uncle. I don't give a fuck if it's a librarian or a teacher. I don't give a fuck if it's somebody that technically graduated from Stanford. Stop putting people on these pedestals, and stop letting them put themselves on pedestals in your life, to the point where people will set it up as if like, oh well, you need to listen to me, or like that. Even if they won't say that, that's what they'll be implying with the things that they say, as if to try to, again, dim your confidence, or minimize your confidence, and make you feel like you need to simmer down from how you feel and listen to them and bring yourself down to their level, or put yourselves underneath their level because they're older than you or whatever. And they're not even right, first of all. Second of all, they may not even be a good fit for you. So even if on paper, she technically did get married, she technically does have kids, she technically does have a 2-story home, so fucking what? Is that how you want if you could switch lives with the person that was giving you advice or trying to tell you what's right from wrong? If you were to wake up in the body of that person tomorrow, or if you were to be told by somebody that within 3 weeks or 3 years, you will wake up one day and your life will look exactly like that person's life looks, would you be fucking happy? Would you feel accomplished? 9 times out of 10, it's a no. Because the people that are the people that you feel are worth, because I wouldn't switch lives with nobody, but let's just say for this person listening, like if you could switch lives for a day, or if you could, acquire the same circumstances, let's say it like that, there are some people that you would be willing to do that with. Like, oh yeah, they're a perfect example of what I would be okay with. Then those are the ones who, if anything, you should be listening to, number one. And number two, I probably can guarantee you, if not 9 times out of 10, I'll be honest, probably about 8.7 times out of 10, those people ain't going around trying to push their beliefs off onto other people, or push themselves and their perspective off onto other people as a way of gaining validation for themselves. Because what people fail to realize is that sometimes it's not somebody telling you something because they just want to help you and da-da-da-da-da. Sometimes their sense of identity and their sense of power and their sense of knowing who they are comes from how they can affect other people, or how they can push themselves off onto other people, how they influence other people, how they control, how much or how less they control other people. Some people get a rise and a kick out of being able to say that they told somebody what to do. That's why you have people that do things that are considered power trips, because their sense of validity comes from how much they can impact someone else. And society at a large, I feel like the collective of people place value on age because we have been brainwashed by films and movies and sayings and things like that, and even fucking national holidays and shit that value age. In movies you'll see the lady, the grandma that was supposed to have so much wisdom, old as fuck, wrinkled up, all curled over, hair is white and everything. So we think that, the older person or the oldest person is the most wise, and the young person, they don't know nothing or whatever. But then we'll also turn around and also say that babies and animals are the most innocent and the purest because they're the closest to God and they haven't been tainted. So which one is it? Because in my opinion, people that are just now born, babies, children, now don't get me wrong, I do feel like there are some babies that are born karmic, and that's a whole nother topic. I do feel like there are some babies that are born karmic, but just to get back onto the basic overall view, if at a basic level all babies are born on a blank slate, and this is something that is backed up by scientific evidence, look it up, all babies are born on a blank slate. People adjust and adopt and acquire things based on what they experience and where they go through in life, but we're only able to do that because we're born on a clean, innocent slate that's most connected to God, most connected to God's source, God energy. Y'all know I'm not religious, so read between the lines. God energy, meaning the same energy that fuels the sun, that fuels the planets, that fuels all the galaxies. That God energy is the same God energy that puts humans on this planet on a clean slate and is the most connected to them, which is why babies are innocent, which is why we know babies need to be protected, which is why babies and animals are great senses and judges of character. And the reason why is because they have not been tainted yet for them to be changed. They don't have the flaws and the perspectives of the adults that are around them or that are in this world that are 30 and 24 and 68. All these other, you know what I'm saying? Like people in this world that have gone through shit and their perspective have gotten fucked up and it's just hardened. It's gone on for so long and they've repeated it so many times that now this has shaped them into who they are. Now this is the lump sum of who they are, but they didn't start off that way. You get what I'm saying? So in that theory by itself, babies are the most pure and they're most connected to the energy source that creates everything. Who is the one that's really the most wise then? When people are trying to figure out what they want to do in their life, when people are trying to level up and up level and expand and do things that they really love, and even if they go and hire coaches or a business manager or something, what do they always go back to? What do they always tell people to refer to when they're considering what's the right thing to do for them? They tell them to consider what they liked when they were a child. They tell them to go back to their childlike energy. They tell them to go back to what they loved to do when they were a child. What did you think when you were a kid? What did you believe when you were a kid? What did you believe before the world told you you couldn't do something? What did you believe was possible before somebody told you this? Who were you before the world got to you? In other words, who were you? What did you believe? What did you want before adults that were tainted, that came before you? Your parents, your grandma, the grandma that ain't really did shit and ain't got nothing on paper that makes her a credible source, but because she your grandma and you watched her struggle and cook dinner and lunch for y'all for the last 30 years, you just value her so much, and that's okay. But that don't mean that she's somebody to be listening to. This grandmother told you, oh, that's not how life works. So that killed your enthusiasm and that killed that dream that you had. Or your mother or your uncle. You get what I'm saying? So if that's the case, why the fuck is it do people think that being old and getting older, which really just means you getting set in your ways and stuck in your ways more and more, that makes you more valuable or more knowledgeable? When quite literally, as a society, we know that children have the most open imagination and the most potential, the most everything. They're the brightest. You know what it is? People are jealous of childlike energy and they're jealous of children because they have unlimited potential. They can go further. Oh, they didn't have to go through this that I went through. You can go further than me. You can surpass me. I don't want you to think that life is this. You know what? To me, it boils down to, why does life get to be so easy for you? Or why does the experience get to be so easy for you when it wasn't like that for me? When it wasn't like that for us? Oh no, your experience can't be like that. Your experience got to be like how ours is. And that translates to, that's not how the world works. That's not how this works. That can't happen. They try to speak their limits into people. And then they use their age, in other words, how long they've been repeating this to themselves, how long they have been experiencing something for themselves, as the reason or the evidence as to why that statement is true. When all along that statement is only true for whoever believes it. It's not inherently false just because it's that person saying it. It's not even that it's false. It's not that it's or automatically false or true. It's about what you believe. It's about what you let into your mind. It's about who you let shape your perspective. Now, my other point that I want to look at, the other perspective I want to look at from this is, if age was to automatically be a qualifying or a qualifying characteristic, I guess. This one factor, right, of age automatically makes people wise, and automatically means that because somebody's older than me, then they know what they're talking about. Wouldn't that mean that all the people that are making mistakes and that have fucked up lives would be young, and it would be the old people in life that got their life together and everything is perfect and everything is happy? Wouldn't it be that as you get older and older, life gets better and better and longer, and it extends and expands? Wouldn't that be the case? And it would be the opposite, right? The people that are young, they make all the mistakes. They don't have nothing together, right? Now, while you can see that, in general, you can see that, you know, the younger people make mistakes or whatever, and older people, some people are that are older tend to have it together. But what about the people that's old as fuck and they don't got their shit together? And what about the people that's young, that got their shit together and they don't make mistakes more than somebody, and they have their shit together more than somebody that's 3 times their age and they always have their shit together? If that was the case, if the case was that age automatically makes you right, automatically means you know what you're doing, automatically has wisdom, then that would be the case for every single case, for every single person in that age group. That is not the case. It is a person by person experience. It is a belief by belief experience. I keep telling y'all, what you think, what you believe, and what you let in your mind and in your field is what shapes your life. Not specifically age, not specifically location. It's about what you believe and what you think. Hence the reason why you can see variations of people's lives and success levels all around, all throughout the globe, at all different levels. You can meet a 60-year-old that's a billionaire. You can meet a 60-year-old that's shacking up and living in a house with somebody else that they supposed to be 10 steps ahead of. You can meet a 40-year-old that's married and happy with children that are 7 years old, 8 years old, and 9 years old in school, that is a stay-at-home mom that meets up at PTO meetings every week and is happy. Or you can meet a 40-year-old that's a single fucking parent, ain't never got no help, ain't never got no support, and don't nobody fuck with them. It varies on a person-to-person basis based on their beliefs and their experiences. It is not based on age. Being younger doesn't automatically make you know everything and make you wise, but being older doesn't either. What part of it is your perspective do people not understand? I think it's because people don't hear that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm saying something that people just haven't heard that much. But at the same time, I can't even say that, because these are the same people who would, I'm sure they have heard the saying, life is what you make it. So what part of that don't you understand? What part of life is what you make it don't you understand? It ain't because of your fucking age. If age and an amount of time something was done was automatically deemed stuff as being the right way, then that means that technically, if the people that were alive during slavery time were still alive, right, they would be in triple digit ages. So let's say it was someone that was a slave master and he was 382 years old, because that was a lot of years ago. Or let's say 350 years old, just to be simple. If people still lived to that age and they were still on this planet, then we would still have people on this planet that believed in slavery and that believed in owning slaves. So would y'all, by y'all's definition, the motherfuckers that's, oh well, I'm 40 and I'm this and I'm that. By y'all's definition, by age, if that means that they right, then that means that the elders of the land who believes in slavery and that black people should be enslaved, for an example, y'all would believe that they're right because they have the age to back it up. That's bullshit. I've done this for 300 years. I've owned slaves for over 300 years. This is how it's done. This is what's right. You would say that's absurd. You would say that's not right. You would say your new perspective. You would say that perspective is wrong. It doesn't matter how long something was done. The amount of time something was done doesn't change the fact if it's right or wrong. If you got people that make meatloaf and they mix shit in it and they say Oh, well, ain't no way these youngins don't know how to cook. I've been a chef, and I've been cooking in restaurants and making food for family gatherings for the last 60 years. Ain't no way you making meatloaf without no shit in it. These youngins don't know how to cook. Would you sit there and eat the pie? No, because you would say it don't matter if somebody been doing it for 50 years or 100 years. You wouldn't eat it. You want to know why? I'm not eating no food with no fucking poop in it. I'm not eating no food with no feces in it. You don't eat feces. You don't. When something is bullshit, when something is, when it doesn't make sense, even if it makes sense for that other person, even if you see them sitting there tearing that food up, it could be a whole community center of people sitting there eating the shit loaf pie. It doesn't matter if that's what they've been doing for 30 years. If it's right or if it's wrong, you're going to use your moral compass to say, no, I don't believe that. No, I'm not going to do that. Oh, well, it can be a tradition for 350 years, even if it goes on that long. I'm not eating it. It's the same thing when people try to come and try to say, oh, well, I'm this and I'm that, so I know what I'm talking about. You can have been believing something for 40 years and have been flawed in that belief system for 40 years. Time doesn't just magically make it right. Age doesn't just magically make it right. That's why people get old and ain't shit. Ain't gonna ever be shit. They stuck in their ways. They know not only is it too late for me, but I ain't finna try to do nothing different. If the last 20 years of my life went like this, the next 20 years is gonna be like this, because this is what I believe. This is how I see the world. Ain't nothing just gonna be magically different. So how the fuck does that instantly translate to somebody being wise and knowing what they talking about because they have age? No. And even if someone did have on paper the areas of their life together, again, going back to my job example, my job interview example, the teaching example, even if you have it all right on paper, that still does not automatically mean that it's right or the ultimate truth. It just means that that's what it was for you, which is why I always tell people that they need to just shut the fuck up and mind their own business. Because just because something worked for you does not mean that it will work for somebody else. And just because something did not work for you does not mean that it will not work for somebody else, and that it can't work for somebody else. People need to mind their fucking business and stop trying to get validation or a sense of self-esteem and confidence from how they view themselves in relation to another person, whether that be viewing themselves as better or superior or inferior. Who you are, your self-esteem, your level of confidence, and your level of feeling accomplished in life should not, does not, and needs to stop coming from whether you feel inferior or superior in relation to another person or group of people. I don't know what the fuck is going on in the minds of people. I'm not in their minds. I'm not in people's minds to know exactly what they've been told, or, it could be anything, something that they've seen in a movie, something they heard in a commercial. I don't know. I don't care. That's the whole point of everybody having their own individual experience. But the point is, it's individual. Like, just because you have children and you raise children up, and people have gotten the role of parent so confused for a long amount of time, thinking that having kids means you get to play God in people's lives, or God in their lives, and tell them who they're gonna be and what they're gonna be, or you teach children or whatever. Like, people get false senses of power a lot of times from having children, or a lot of times they feel like they're getting their redemption from having children, or from doing this or doing that, and they think that the way that they act in that thing determines who they are in life, when in actuality you have children to guide, not to control, not to dictate, not to curate, but to guide these people, little people that will grow up and be the next adults in line, the next generation of adults. You're guiding them to be the best versions of themselves based on who they are, not who you want them to be, not based on what you want them to think. It's based on who they are and what their potential is. That's why you pay attention to what a child naturally gravitates to, what a child naturally likes to do, what a child is naturally good at, and then you guide them. Build-A-Bear Workshop is in the mall for a reason. It's not in Wombs. It's not in hospitals. Because people are born, and they are born with their own specific life layout and their own free will to grow up and make the decisions that they need to do, whether you believe in people having missions on this planet or not. Their own mission is already mapped out for them, which is the reason why we are not the ultimate God over everybody else's lives. We just God of our own lives. Hence the reason why we have free will. Our free will is our direct communication with God, telling us what to do in this life based on where we want to go to fulfill our own mission. Not to sit up and put people. That's why if you like, okay, just for, because I'm in America, let's just use Christianity as a basic example, because in legal systems here we use the Bible to swear in, and so we swear on the Bible, and when we say the pledge of allegiance in America, it mentions God. So I'll just use Christianity as an example, just because I'm an American speaker. Even in Christianity, which is a monotheistic religion, in the Bible it will tell you to not worship nobody. Do not put nobody on no pedestal. You come from a selfish God. You come from a God that don't want you to put nothing and nobody else above him. And that same God in this same book is mentioned as being within you, in your body, in your mind. So that means, that translates to, even if someone else, even if it's a parent, even if it's a quote unquote earthly master, that's why I use the example of slavery, because an earthly master was a slave master. That's what that refers to. That's why I use that example if you're following along. Even if it is a parent, even if it's a teacher, even if it was a slave master, you do not put nobody's beliefs and nobody period. Their beliefs, their essence, their aura, their who they are, what they think, their perspective, nothing. You do not put nothing above you and your God and the God that is inside of you. So your mind, you do not put it above your own perspective. You do not look at it as if they're right and I'm wrong. I'm inferior and they're superior just because they've been doing it wrong. If that was the case, none of us would have brains. We would not need brains. We would only have one old ass person in the world, or one group of old ass people in this world that are in triple and 4-digit ages that tell people what's right and tell people what's wrong and give us instructions on what to do, because age is what makes you right. So we would need that. But that's not how it works. Everybody got their own brain and their own experience for a reason, because it's here to guide you. If God is inside of you, inside of your mind, communicating with you through your mind, through your thoughts, and through the urges and the actions that you have to take, that you want to take, that you feel like you have to take, where in the equation does somebody being 40 years old or 50 years old or 60 years old, not even considered a senior citizen in some points, where does in that equation does putting someone else's perspective above yours and telling yourself you wrong, or you overthinking it, or you doing too much, or putting yourself down, where does that come into the equation? Where does that come into the equation of, oh, young people think they know everything? Yeah, I would think I know everything too if I got the power of God that created every fucking galaxy in existence and all 7 heavens. If that God that created me, you, grandma, this house, and this whole fucking planet is inside of me and telling me that this is what I need to do, I would think I know everything too. The same God that created everything created my brain and is sitting in it and talking to me from it right now, telling me what to do through the urges that I'm getting. And then also communicating with the people that surround me on how to guide me, or guiding them out of my life by... It could be guiding them to me or guiding them out of my life, because God has guided a lot of people out of my life throughout my experience. You don't know how God is using the God energy, because I'm not Christian. The God creative energy is working on someone. You thinking that the people that are old say shit like their excuses, I'm trying to help and I'm trying to do this. Whole time they could be being used by that same God energy to get out of this person's way that they're trying to talk down onto, that they're trying to minimize. You are a distraction. You are what is considered a demon, because you are there to divert people from what they're supposed to be doing. You are there to try to talk people out of their mission, to talk people off their confidence. You there to try to take away the energy that God is giving to that person because you think that your perspective is right because you had a fucked up experience. Get the fuck out of here. Like, stop flattering yourself, Mrs. 40-year-old, Mr. 64-year-old, Mrs. I'm 62. You don't know what the fuck you talking about. Because if you did, it would be evident and showing in your life. And if it was evident and showing in your life, people will be coming to you, paying you, asking you all the time for advice. And at that point, you wouldn't even feel the need to press your opinion so much or try to prove why you're credible or why your opinion is right. People that know they right don't feel the need to try to make somebody else believe it. I don't have to make you believe that the sky is blue. The sky is blue. Whether you believe it's purple or not, my sense of knowing that I'm right doesn't come from my ability to get you to see that the sky is blue. Intelligent people, wise people know not to drive themselves to insanity by trying to get someone to understand something, by trying to get them to see something. People that are really wise take the perspective of, you know what? I'll tell you. Take what resonates, leave what don't. Use it if you will, use it if you don't. It don't make me a difference. It's up to you. You know what I'm saying? They don't so heavily try to attach themselves to other people's energies to try to get them to see something. It's like, hey, I put it out there. Whether you believe it or not, that's on you. I'm just giving you the information. You can lead the horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. That's what a wise person does. A wise person doesn't try to sit here and reason you out of. A wise person doesn't even try to. A lot of times they don't even fucking speak their opinion because they don't need to say it. So that's what I wanted to say in this episode. I hope it made sense. Age does not automatically make somebody wise. No matter how you look at it. And nor does it automatically make somebody immature. You could have been doing something wrong consistently for the last 60 years because it was a practice. Think about this. If age, right? Or let's say seniority, I guess. Like the first thing that was done or how long ago something was done, right? If that was the case, if somebody being old or having like being seasoned, I should say, automatically makes them right and makes it better, then what's the point of innovation? Think about it today. Do you value something because it was made a long time ago, or do you value something because it's up to date and it works the best? Think about the first card reader. The first card machine took so long to be able to use your card to process a payment. It used to take, you got to swipe it through the thing, send a request to the bank a couple of days, and the bank send the money, send the money back over the next couple of few business days. And then and only then after that, the card machine works. Now we can pay on our phones with Apple Pay. You want to know why? Because that's innovation. Everything advances as time goes on. Things get updated. Imagine if your phone was running off the same software system that it had in 2014 and you got an iPhone. Your phone is going to be moving slower than molasses if it even cut on, because things have to be updated. They update, they innovate, they expand. We're not riding in horses and carriages no more. No, we have cars and self-driving cars and cars that don't even need gas no more. We charge them up. Things innovate. We get new ideas from younger people that are new. Sometimes they older people. Again, it's not based on age. It's about the perspective. It's about what's right. Right from wrong. Right and wrong does not have an age on it. That's the whole point that I'm trying to get people to see. And yes, I'm going to use this whole amount of time to explain it from all these different perspectives, to get it through your people's dense ass skulls, because that's all it is. It's not the age. It's not the time. It's about, is it right or is it wrong? Is it limited or is it unlimited? Is it a wise piece of advice or is it an unwise, limited piece of advice? Are you telling me this because you really feel this is what it is? Or are you telling me this because you feel this is what it is for me, or this is what it should be or should not be for me, for the person that you're talking to, or the person that is speaking to you? That's what it boils down to. When y'all stop using fake ass excuses like age and where you from and your race and all of these other fake ass factors that don't make a difference on whether something is factually ultimately true or not, the sooner people do that, the sooner they'll stop being led by the blind. If you've been blind for 60 years, you've been blind for 60 years. It don't matter whether you leading 6 people or 10 people. You're leading them in a direction where you don't know where the fuck you going, because you've been blind the whole time you've been leading. Even if you birth 6 kids, I'm 40, I've been through, I know this and I know that. Does that change the fact that every relationship that you've had has failed and nobody fucks with you, and you nowhere where you want to be in life right now? Or you are a mediocre sum of where you want to be in life right now, still fucking struggling with the same shit that you were struggling with in your early 20s, with the emotional intelligence capacity of a 20-year-old? Does that automatically make you wise just because you got the age of 40 on it? Or does that mean that you're not wise and that somebody still shouldn't listen to you, and that all of those things are still true despite the fact that you're 40? And I would just say, I'm going to suggest that people start taking this approach and this perspective when people are telling them, and society is trying so heavily to bully free thinkers and to bully the real smart people out of what they need to be doing and where they actually should be, and where they actually should be at, what they actually should be thinking, what they actually should be doing as they are. And I'm one of them, and I'm just one of them that won't budge. Like, you're not going to get me to assimilate into your way of thinking. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And I just put this out because I know that there's some people who are not as outspoken or not as strong-minded. Like, my mind is sharp. My tongue is sharp. My spirit, my aura is sharp. So people can't penetrate me. But someone else might not be that way. And you might be talked out of your greatness and talked out of your potential because you listening to a motherfucker that's trying to tell you that, oh, well, I'm right and you wrong and you don't know nothing because I'm older than you, or I've been on this earth for all this time. And so fucking what? My point is, you could have been on this earth all this time and been on this earth in a fucked up position. But that's what I'm trying to say. That's the point I'm trying to get at, okay? That's all I want to say for this episode. Age does not automatically make you credible, does not automatically make you superior, nor does it automatically make you inferior. If you young, it applies both ways. If you're a young person, don't be walking around here letting nobody try to tell you that you don't know nothing and you don't know what you're doing, and trying to project mistakes and delays and all of this other stuff, and figuring it out what they want you to experience and what they would be more comfortable with seeing you experience, because you shooting up to success so fastly and so quickly at a young age will make them feel insecure because they didn't do that. Don't let that affect you. Don't let it get into your mind. And also, on the flip side of that, don't think that just because you're young you're wrong, or that you're automatically right. It's about your perspective. It's not about the age. Just like for the old people. And 40 ain't old. Some of the ages that I said ain't even old. But I'm just saying, the older seasoned people, do not and stop thinking that just because you are a certain age and that you've made it to a certain age in life, that you are right or that you're wise. And also, on the flip side of that, it don't mean that you're wrong either. It don't mean that just because you haven't experienced something yet, or you haven't, been in on a new innovative let's say a new project or a new thing that you haven't interacted with, or something that's new for you. It don't mean that you don't know nothing about it and that you can't know nothing about it. It just means you got to learn it. But my point is, you're not automatically inferior or automatically superior, whether you're older or younger. It's about the perspective, and it's about what are you actually saying in the message. Fuck who the messenger is. Fuck how old the messenger is. fuck what the messenger done been through. I don't give a fuck if you got 60 children. You raised all of them half-ass. It don't matter about the factor, the 3D factors that we're listening to on a soul, spiritual, energetic level of the message that someone is saying to you. Is it right or is it wrong? Do you want to believe that and let that create for you or not? What I want to say is, in other words, I'm not putting your sense of judgment above my own because of the fact that you think yours is better than mine, just because you're older or because you've had that perspective for X amount of time. I'm not putting your sense of judgment above my own. I'm just not. I don't trust you more than I trust myself, and nor am I going to. I trust my sense of judgment more than I trust yours, and that's just what it is. I don't care. I'm not seeing through your eyes. I'm seeing through mine. I'm not living your life and your experiences. I'm living my life and my experiences. That's all I gotta say. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see y'all on the next episode. Mwah. Toodles.